February 24, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It's kind of this choppy sideways action. Then on the open, it sold off pretty strongly, bounced, had another second gradual sell-off. Then it rallied, chopped sideways, kind of hit a plateau, and then it came right back down close to the lows, and it closed near the lows. There was no economic data that came out today to really move anything. So this is just all pure market price action. I think Trump or one of his spokesmen came out and said a few things, but not enough and not predictable enough at any specific time for you to be able to take advantage or stay out of anything. So I drew the charts today. There are quite a few setups because this is very choppy, but there were a few setups in here. I took a total of 2 trades. The first one was profitable, and then the second one was more of a brain fart. I convinced myself it was a good trade at the time, but shortly after entering it, I decided to just bail on it and get out break even because I think something spooked me. And I think it was probably between the first trade, which happened at around 8 o'clock Pacific Standard, and the second trade, which is during the last hour. I got, I think, zoned out, and then I convinced myself it was a good setup, but quickly, I guess, undid the trade by just getting out one tick in the profit just to cover the commission. So I was very fortunate because it would have turned out to be a losing trade if I stuck it out. So I'm going to go through the trades right now. Okay. Pre-market, it was kind of a rally, chops around, and then right on the open, it was in a process of doing this two-legged sell-off, and it bounces and it comes, kind of recovers with this bounce back up, no setups. I think it was following up this green up channel, has an overshoot, then it flushed down. So now it looks like there's 3 legs down. Hits this consolidation area. I thought this was a possible second entry short. Possible second entry short. So this break of this orange down channel, it's 1 attempt down. This could be the start of the second attempt down. It is 2 legs up. It didn't quite hit the EMA, but this is a decent signal bar. And it almost touched the EMA. So I thought this is more of an aggressive trade because here you do have just barely enough room to scalp out. So if you just say you got in at 42.50, for me, I need to get out at 41.25, which is down here. So it looks like I would have gotten this one, wouldn't debatable whether I would have gotten out on here on this one, but for sure would have gotten here. But it is pressing to the lows of this possible range. So it would be a little bit more aggressive. Then prices break below, pushes back up. Here the EMA looks like it's holding, but you only have a first entry short, second entry short. Second entry short's bad signal bar, nothing really here. And then it continues to drop, but there's no clear way to enter it at this point. So you just had to kind of, well, in my case, just sit on your hands and watch it go without you, because you only have first entry shorts. And then if you have a second entry long or a second entry short, they're too far from the EMA, nothing really close to any key entry points, so you kind of have to just let them go. Otherwise, you're just taking it in the middle of nowhere. Prices continue moving down. I was playing with a bunch of channels. I eventually ended up with this nice yellow one. I had other channels kind of cutting through a little more sharply, something like this, and other ones. But then the ultimate one was the yellow one. Moves down on this green down channel, kind of bottoms out here. Pushes up, you get a first entry short, break of this green up channel, break and test the high. You get a first entry short with a second entry short above the EMA. Now, in the bigger context, I'm thinking this yellow down channel wants to test the low, but I don't like that it's above the EMA and it's kind of far from, just kind of sitting, floating in the middle of the air. So I was looking for a lower high. You kind of get a lower high here, but it's a wrong signal bar. Whoops. You get it here, and then you got a confirm lower high, but it's also looking like it's sideways, so there's really no setup here. Pushes up. You have a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long, I thought was a possible trade, but then I figured it was actually an almost trade because it is a break of this green down channel. It is 1 attempt up, pullback. This second attempt is an inside bar, so that was the main detractor. And it looked like it already broke below the EMA, so it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long right at the EMA where it's kind of flattening out. So here I decided I need to wait for a higher low. You don't get it till about right here, but it made a double bottom. And the close for your higher low isn't above this guy, so it gives you a little bit of pause because there's too much tail here. So this is an almost trade after all. You just kind of let it go. Prices then continue moving down. New high, first entry long. Pull back, second entry long, too far from the EMA, too far from anything. You do have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short, then you have a third entry short. But I didn't like that this stack of candles were kind of neutral and they're just kind of gradually moving up, just breached the EMA. So it's just not good indication to me on which way it's going to go. It kind of keeps moving. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long, second entry long. If you decide that it was a bounce off this developing channel, I suppose you could take a trade, but I'm not that fond of it because the signal bar isn't that good either. It is 2 legs down, so it is break of the green down channel, 1 attempt down, second attempt down, too early to go long. You get a higher low here, but I wanted the higher low above the EMA ideally, but then the setup just didn't quite, happen or set up the way it would have been more safe. You have a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short, I actually thought this was a possible trade. I like this setup actually because the break of the green up channel, test of the high. So this is a signal bar for the second entry short, which isn't good, but the follow through trigger bar is nice that it moved up 1 tick, engulfed this candle completely and closed at the low with a strong, very decisive push down through. And it just came from a bounce off low side. So this is a little bit of a riskier bar because this is a 16 tick candle, which is a little bit more risky. So I decided to leave it alone, hoping for a lower high below the EMA. And lo and behold, you get your lower high here. And I thought this was actually a possible trade. It's lower high, first entry short, second entry short, push, push, push it down here, push up. You have a potential lower high here, and then it confirms right here when this one opens and closes. So I wasn't fast enough. By the time this one closed, I didn't really like the setup anymore because I was concerned I might be running into a support area here. So this one had to close a little earlier, like right here, or I had to have been faster because after this close, now I'm not thinking it's a confirmed lower high. And if you're faster than I was or more, I guess, confident in the setup, you would have been able to take it right here and then just jump in on it. Pushes up. I'm thinking you're moving down on this yellow down channel. It's a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback. Second entry short, it's a bad signal bar to go short on. By the time the second entry short confirms, feels like the trade's already been made. You're running into the other issue that I had before, which is I might be running into a support area because at this point I'm thinking there's potential for a trading range right here. Pushes down. You have a first entry long pullback, second entry long bounce off this yellow down channel. Now, if you're more aggressive, you might have just taken this second entry long, but I'm not that aggressive because it is 4-touch confirmation. I'm looking for a higher low to feel more confident. And unfortunately, you don't get a higher low till about right here. By the time this forms, it pushes out of this very clear yellow down channel. So I'm not eager to jump on this because it's already breaking and testing and making new localized highs. So no setup there. It's a new high, becomes a first entry long, but it's also a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, creates a higher low, but by the time the higher low is confirmed and it closes, it's too close to the localized high. Then it creates a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. This is actually where I take my first trade. It's a little more aggressive, but I like that it was a first entry short, second entry short, higher low confirmation of the failed second entry short. This could be the first entry short, second entry short failure, and this could also have been considered a higher low. I liked it just because it was a decent signal bar. It is far from the EMA, so it is a little riskier. It could have pushed back down below into this yellow down channel, so this was a little bit riskier. So I entered 1 tick above, was able to get my quick scalp. I moved my runner from down here. Actually, it was down here, so it wasn't a really good risk reward. Moved it all the way to 1 tick above my entry. Actually, I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but I think in this case, I think I took the entire position off, but I could have sworn maybe it was on a different account that I took it off, but it it just pretty much took the whole I think the whole trade off here. Versus then continue moving. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. Second entry long here. Second entry long, decent signal bar. I thought it was a possible trade. It's a third touch of the EMA. So it's one touch, two touch, three touch, pushes up, and it's a decent signal bar. Break of this orange down channel is tested the low, so it has everything going for it. Then you have a higher low confirmation. For the higher low confirmation, this isn't a very, when you see this, it isn't very, I don't like that it's red, and I need it, if it was red, to be at least higher than more of a neutral body right here. So left it alone. Price then can continue moving up. It starts coasting on this red up channel. I saw a second entry long here, but I didn't like it because it's inside bar. I wasn't super confident on trusting this red up channel just yet. Pushes up, hugs the top side, comes back down. First entry long pull back. You get a second entry long here, but before I found this yellow up channel, this is just kind of sitting out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no trade there. Pushes up, it kind of consolidates and starts moving sideways with the EMA starting to catch up. Clearly, I think I'm in a trading range at this point. It breaks the localized new lowest. First entry short, pullback, second entry short, but I also saw this as a count reset. I just said as a visual first entry short, pullback, second entry short. It's also a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Second entry long is about to fail, and it's a multiple test of this possible top of the range. The decent signal bar would have pushed down, so this is a little more aggressive. And you would have just barely gotten out if you're going for a 1 point scalp. 2 point scalp, I think you would have gotten stopped out, which is up. And then I find this yellow up channel. It's relatively nicely with a big overshoot here. Not a big overshoot, but an overshoot here. So new high, it's a first entry long pullback. Second entry long here with a higher low. Second entry long with a higher low. I thought this was a possible trade. Confirms the second entry long. There was an overshoot of this orange down channel on the high side. So it break, went down and tested. So I'm thinking one push down. Could there potentially be a second push down? Maybe, but it felt like with the overall bias of it pushing up, there's an overshoot here. So it's like a first entry, second entry. It's a little ambiguous. I couldn't honestly figure it out if it was going to potentially move up or down. So I wanted a higher low confirmation. But if you're a little more aggressive, you probably could have put in your entry above this double top here. You wouldn't have gotten filled though. The potential fail breakout of this resistance area is a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Second entry long looks like it's about to fail. Second entry long failure is coming up. Then it pushes down. So there was a couple ways to look at this. It looks like it was one leg pullback, second leg with a push below the EMA. So if you're a little more aggressive, you could also see it as all staying within this green down channel, with this potentially coming back down to test the low side. So it's a more aggressive trade. I just left it alone. Pushes down and kind of bounces off this orange up channel, yellow up channel support. So I'm waiting. Consolidates, pushes up. Technically a first entry short, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar to go short on. Bounces, has this gap, which is very interesting. Breaks this new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I actually thought this was also a possible trade. I like this, it's just kind of a strong reversal, bounce off the bottom of this yellow up channel. At this point, I was thinking maybe this is actually a little bit higher here. So there was no overshoot and it's just bouncing. It's going to make its way back at the high side. I like the strong close here. 2 legs up, first attempt, pull back, second attempt. I was concerned that if there is enough room to take a trade between here and what I thought was a possible resistance point here, it's just barely enough room, but I just left it alone. Price then continue chopping sideways. Creates a new high, first entry long. Technically, I have a second entry long here, but also saw it as a visual first entry, pull back, second entry. Nope, didn't mean to do that. But it was a little also, it was kind of sideways, so I wasn't too sure on whether I should use range rules or second entry 2 legs. So I just kind of sat and waited. Pushes and breaks below this yellow up channel. Pushes on the green, breaks, comes back down, tests the low. This is already into the pre-market highs and pre-market lows. So you're dancing in this kind of ambiguous support potential area. So I'm waiting, pushes down, potential breakout, and it's coming back up. First entry short, almost makes a double bottom, creates a second entry short. It's also a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. By the time this closes, it's too late to try to jump in on a short trade. It was a little fast, plus this is an inside bar, and it feels a little congested with the bodies just kind of side by side. So I didn't really mark a trade. Here's a new low, it's a first entry short. You get a second entry short here, but it's above the EMA. I'm not that keen on it. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, but then you get a lower high. And I thought this lower high is a possible trade. It confirms the second entry short. It's a really strong signal bar, enough room to the lows. Break of this green down channel, you want to test the low. So it's one attempt down. This could be the start of the second attempt. Well, actually, this could be the second attempt. And I'm looking for another move down with the strength of the signal bar. Might have been a trade, and you do have enough room to get to the lows. Pushes up. You have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This is a strong second entry short, but I call it an almost trade because by the time it closes, I was concerned that this is a potential support area of a bigger potential trading range. So I was thinking, could this be moving sideways in a trading range like this? And this could be the bottom side of the trading range because there was some kind of respect paid to this line support previously. There was a break here, but now it feels like there's not that much room before you get to the localized low. So I didn't want to short into the lows. Pushes down. Okay, so this is kind of where I've been sitting here for the last few hours looking and trying to missing out on potential trades because I second guessed it. This is actually where I take a second trade, but I quickly abandon it after I entered. So it's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short, hasn't formed yet. Now this is a second entry short. So it's a first entry short, second entry short, break of this orange up channel, break and test the high. So I thought, okay, the uptrend may have played out. I might be in this blue down channel. So I thought in myself, okay, there's a short here. I didn't think that too much of it being an inside bar, but once I entered, it entered rather early. It was dancing around, and I didn't really like the way it was kind of creeping through, and my ticks remaining was bottoming out. So I decided I wasn't that confident. Just didn't look quite right. I felt like I just jumped the gun. It wasn't the safest trade. I didn't like the 2-bar signal bars, so I actually exited one tick below my entry just to get break even trade. And I was lucky because this candle likely would have stopped me out. The prices continue moving. You have new high, first entry long, second entry long. It feels a little bit congested. It's two side by side. I had this at one time as a potential trading range, but it just looked kind of noisy and it breaks through. It starts moving down. You have a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. Confirmed second entry short. This second entry short I actually thought was a possible trade, but it's too late in the day. I found this potential red trend line. I wasn't that excited that it didn't really touch anything before. If it did, then I'd be kind of dissolving and pushing down into this blue line or this blue down channel. So I was trying to play this red down channel. And I thought, okay, there's actually a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, second entry short. Unfortunately, it's an inside bar. It just pushed below the EMA. I don't know that this candle is going to show up like that. So it felt a little ambiguous. I thought I could make a case for another push up because it's a break of the green up channel. Test made a matching high. Not strong enough push down inside bar to this one. It could make another attempt up. So it could be a short trade or a long trade. But seeing as I could make a case for both, I decided just to leave it alone. Then prices move down. Confirms this red down channel pretty nicely. Breaks out to the low side and it goes into the close. So it was kind of an interesting day where there was quite a few setups. Some of them I just was too slow, didn't act upon it, or second guessed it, or just mentally not as sharp as I should have been. But there were definitely more trades than the one that I took. I didn't really count the second trade as anything worth it. Second trade was a good thing. I just kind of bailed on it. I should be more careful on doing that because I don't want to always be jumping out on a break-even trade. So that just means I have to be more careful to make sure I know the setups so I don't have a second guessing it so much. So interesting day. Volume is a little higher. Hopefully this continues into tomorrow because today did offer a few setups that I thought were like pretty decent, better than the has been for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, fortunate to have my one trade and was able to scrape by on the second one without getting too beaten up. Well, actually not getting beaten up at all. So hopefully that was helpful.